On a peaceful afternoon, what if the oxygen in the atmosphere disappeared for just 5 seconds? Think you can just hold your breath for 5 seconds? Not even close. This short time is merely the blink of an eye, but it becomes a terrifying eraser that completely wipes out millions of years of human history. Now, imagine it. We begin the countdown to the worst 5 seconds that will swallow the globe. 1 second. First, the massive skylines around the world collapse. New York's Empire State and Tokyo's skyscrapers instantly turn into grey dust. The miracle glue that binds concrete as hard as rock is actually oxygen. Concrete without oxygen is like a sandcastle hit by a furious typhoon. It crumbles helplessly without any resistance whatsoever. The brilliant civilization built by humanity reverts to desert sand in just 1 second. Roads, dams, and bridges, every infrastructure completely scatters without a trace. However, the collapse of concrete is merely a trailer for the hell to come. 2 seconds. Now, unimaginable disasters start raining down from the sky. Tens of thousands of airplane engines flying over the Eiffel Tower in Paris simultaneously shut down. The spark that burns fuel inside the engine, oxygen, has completely evaporated. 100-ton steel planes plummet like giant hail falling from the sky. Hundreds of millions of cars on the ground also stop instantly, causing massive chain collisions. Even more terrifying is that the daytime sky turns pitch black like deep space. The oxygen molecules that scattered sunlight to create a blue sky are gone. The atmosphere now blasts the sun's deadly ultraviolet rays directly onto the surface, unfiltered. 3 seconds. Now, a direct and horrific physical blow strikes your body. With a sharp pop, the eardrums of 8 billion people burst simultaneously. As the 21% of the atmosphere that was oxygen vanishes, air pressure plummets instantly. This is the exact same shock as teleporting from sea level to the top of Mount Everest in 1 second. As internal body pressure expands, humans collapse in agonizing pain. But there isn't even time to feel the pain. The world is going mad. 4 seconds. All the metals in the world start sticking together like ghosts. Normally, metal surfaces are coated with a thin oxide layer, preventing them from fusing. Once this coating disappears, the cables of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco fuse into one and snap. Cold welding, where satellite parts fuse in the vacuum of space, now happens on Earth. At the same time, the blue waters of the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans boil fiercely. Oxygen escapes from water, leaving only the lightest hydrogen gas. The ocean turns into a massive hydrogen bomb, fiercely expanding and evaporating towards space. 5 seconds. Finally, Earth's lifeblood is completely and eternally severed. Even the ground you stand on collapses like an endlessly massive sinkhole. Did you know the shocking fact that 45% of the Earth's crust is made of oxygen? Earth's solid shell crumbles like a boiled eggshell and is sucked into the mantle. In just 5 seconds without oxygen, the blue planet Earth has turned into hell. But the real disaster begins when oxygen returns to the atmosphere after 5 seconds. The countdown ends, and the missing 21% of oxygen rushes madly back to Earth. As oxygen fills the vacuum, a supersonic implosion occurs. A massive shockwave wraps around the entire Earth, shredding everything left. Moreover, the atmosphere is now full of massive amounts of hydrogen gas from the evaporated oceans. Oxygen, hydrogen, and the immense friction heat from the crust's collapse all meet in one place. The entire planet is engulfed in a single colossal firestorm. The sky burns blood red, and the atmosphere literally becomes a fiery hell itself. Then, were the people who hid in deep underground bunkers safe from this disaster? Unfortunately, no. It became the most horrific sealed tomb. Because the rock layers surrounding the bunker collapsed as the 45% oxygen in the crust vanished. Millions of tons of dirt and rock crushed the bunker's ceiling, collapsing it with terrifying pressure. To make matters worse, the massive flames from the returning oxygen are sucked through the vents. The pillar of fire burns away even the remaining air in the sealed underground, causing suffocation. The situation for nuclear submarines on missions hundreds of meters deep is even more desperate. The surrounding seawater instantly turned into hydrogen gas and evaporated. Losing the water, the submarine completely loses buoyancy and plummets toward the empty ocean floor. And 5 seconds later, the ocean that turned into gas crashes down again as water with immense mass. A destructive tsunami hits, like tens of millions of tons of concrete falling from the sky. No matter how solid the steel submarine is, it simply crumples like paper before this massive shockwave. Ground, underground, deep sea, there is no safe zone anywhere from this 5-second disaster. Decades later, after the storm subsides and time passes, what will Earth look like? The blue, beautiful planet we knew is completely gone. Instead, an endless red desert of death stretches out, deeply reminiscent of Mars. As oxygen returned explosively, all iron and metal on the surface oxidized extremely rapidly. The once brilliant forest of human buildings has turned into hideous rusted scrap metal buried in sand. The intense heat of the massive firestorm melted the surface sand, creating gigantic glass plains. Only the red sandstorms blowing over the glass plains indicate any movement exists on this planet. A perfectly bizarre and heavy silence, with absolutely no trace of life to be found anywhere. This is the price of the atmospheric oxygen taking a brief 5-second vacation. We often mistakenly believe that humans control everything on Earth with infinite technology. But from a cosmic perspective, our survival relies on incredibly precarious coincidences. If this very thin, transparent layer of gas surrounding Earth, this fragile shield, collapses, it's all over. This ordinary air we breathe in without a thought every day was actually the miraculous thread holding your body, human history, and the entire Earth together. Just because it is invisible does not mean it is without immense value. Now, take a deep breath. Can you feel the sensation of life filling your lungs? You will feel just how precious and miraculous this peaceful air surrounding you today truly is. What if this universe decides to play another deadly prank on us? For example, what if the gravity that keeps us grounded reversed for just 1 second? If you are curious about more terrifying and wondrous cosmic mysteries told by Earth Signal, hit subscribe right now and prepare for the next survival scenario.